election last night. There's been concerns for a long time, but now it is all out in the open. In fact, breaking news today, some major Democratic donors telling the largest pro-Biden super PAC, Future Forward, that about $90 million pledged already in donations. Well, it's on hold if Biden remains at the top of the ticket. This is according to two people who have been briefed on the conversations. And remember, Joe Biden last night was pretty confident in the fundraising efforts he has and his war chest. But let's talk about what we saw on the stage and the medical side to all of this. Pleased to have with us congressional candidate for Arizona, also a cardiovascular disease physician, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. Doctor, great to have you with us today. I know we always say this, you haven't examined you haven't examined Joe Biden, but as a medical professional, there's this part here, he always goes to it, where he starts whispering. I just want to play that to refresh some folks' memories. They look for the clip. I will. That whispering is a sign of something, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. The Democrats and the Biden administration seem to think that most American families don't have any relation to what's happening here. And we see this in so many families. And I do primary care. And you see a beginning of a disconnect between the verbal function and cognitive. And that's why when he mentioned President Trump, when he was trying to say Kamala Harris, he didn't correct himself. Most of the times there ends up being a complete disconnect as we get more and more cognitive decline. And this is not something that happened overnight, which is why it's obvious this has been a massive cover-up for years. The American public have been lied to. And this type of neurocognitive degeneration is going to manifest as sometimes a word salad, and then he gets back to sort of his reflexes and begins to develop some tics, as we see often. And part of that tic can be a whispering. And we keep talking about neurology assessments. This is not a specific diagnosis that hasn't been made. The actual specialist I send my patients to would be a neuropsychologist to do some executive capacity evaluation, and that has not even been talked about.
He did say last night on the stage that he's willing to take a cognitive test. If we have that, let's play that.
I've taken 3 significant and intense neurological exams by a neurologist. In each case, as recently as February. And they say I'm in good shape, okay? Although I do have a little problem with my left foot because it's not as sensitive because I broke my foot and didn't wear the boot. But I'm good. I'm tested every single day about my neurological capacity to do decisions I make every day. You talk to my staff, all of you talk to my staff. Sometimes my staff talks a lot. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think you have them telling you that all the major ideas we've undertaken haven't been in part initiated by me.
So here's the thing. If he doesn't want to go, there's no one pushing him out. So that's where we're at. And would a cognitive test even be required at this point with all of the gaps we've seen?
It's insulting to even for them to talk about this because it's not a cognitive test of basic autonomy, ability for him to make decisions for himself. It's about executive complex matters of executive function. And I can tell you, you look at patients who are physicians, who are high-level folks whose cognitive diminishment is exceeding their own ego. So those patients obviously often need coercion, need a intervention to tell them because they don't have a perception of their incapacity. And they're not incapacitated to where they can't make their own decisions for their own life, but they're not at a level where they can function running the largest government, largest corporations, treating patients, driving a car. There are certain things that you need to protect the public health to that then often needs an intervention by the people that love you, your family, the people around you, your workplace, so that you're not hurting others. And that's where we've been for the last few years with President Biden.
And let's face it, he's the most powerful man in the entire world. This position is the most powerful position. It is a 24/7 job. He says he wants to pace himself. I don't know. You can't pace yourself in this job. It's impossible. I just have about 20 seconds left. And we came in off that soundbite where she says, I'm not sad and I'm not laughing. I'm mad. I wonder if Democrats need a little bit of therapy themselves. There's a process here of grieving, too. And she's apparently in the angry stage of that. But I think a lot of people people are going through sort of this. They were lied to. They were deceived by the media and whatnot here. So I think, are we going to see some Dems having therapy, Dr. Jasser?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at Charles Blow, and the New York Times basically said how remarkable he thought this was, but they're in deception mode. They're in political damage control mode, and they're not being honest. The therapy they need is come to grips with the reality and be honest with the American people instead of lying to us as you have been for the past 3.5 years.
Great to have you in, congressional candidate in Arizona, and also primary care physician as well, a man of many hats here. Thanks for your expert analysis, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. Come back soon.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.